What's even everybody? It's your boy Chimpact bringing guys my draft analysis of my season 6 draft for the GBA. I'm the coach of your Philadelphia Scizors. So first we went and franchised Tornadus T was my first pick. Basically what franchising is it costs you points to draft your last Pokemon before the drafting starts. So because I picked a tier 1 Pokemon in Tornadus T, it cost me 40 points I think or 60 points in my free area, which is right here. So I started out with I think 60 less points. So that's the reason why my free area is a little bit less stellar than some of the other coaches, is because they didn't franchise a tier 1 Pokemon, or they didn't franchise at all. But Tornadus T, it's an amazing Pokemon. The stats speak for themselves. It's in its own speed, tier 121. It has decent enough defenses. It has Regenerator. That is what breaks this Pokemon. So counters to Tornadus or checks to Tornadus like Bronzong, electric types, Rotom Wash, it actually beats them because of its access to U-turn and Regenerator, because you might take like 300% from Stealth Rock in the game, but you're actually, if you take 300% from Stealth Rock, you probably healed like 500% with Regenerator. And that's broken. Like, Regenerator is giving you health at the cost of doing nothing. You just switch. You click U-turn and you heal health. And it gives you momentum. So Regenerator is amazing. It has flying fighting coverage, has heat wave, grass knot, knockoff, superpower U-turn. It also has niche coverage. These are just the good coverage moves that you can just use against generic teams. It can use dark pulse against ghost types. It can use extra sensory against fighting types and poison types. And then it also, if you don't want to go assault vest, you can go taunt to stall break a little bit. You have Tailwind to speed up the team. You have Rain Dance support. As you can see, I have Blastoise, I have Kingdra, I have Politoed, so I do have a rain aspect to my team. But I wasn't actually thinking about Rain Dance support when I initially drafted it. It was on the back of my head, but it wasn't something really, it wasn't a priority to have Rain Dance support. So the first pick of my draft was Scolipede. Now a lot of people were like, well, this isn't really a first round draft pick, but I disagree, because Speed Boost is really, really good, and it has great attack stats. It has great stats as well. It has 90 attack, 112 speed, so it outspeeds Latias, it outspeeds Keldeo, it outspeeds everything. Basically outspeeds everything, because you can just run Protect and outspeed everything. And it also allows me to not really have a need for priority on the team, because I can just use Protect and I'll probably be able to outspeed everything anyway. And the only thing that I won't be able to outspeed is stuff that's using Agility, Rock Polish, Excadrill in the sand, etc. But I would have checks for them anyway. So Scolipede's great because, like, +2 Adamant Megahorn. What is taking that? +2 Adamant Poison Jab Life Orb. What is taking that? Like, you look at its coverage and you might think it's not that good, but Megahorn is really, really strong. And it has very little drawback. The drawback is 85% accuracy. That's not that bad. And if I wanted to, I could always go Scizor to have a little bit more accuracy and lose a little bit on power. But Megahorn is so strong that I don't think that I'm going to do that. But yeah, it gets Poison Jab, Megahorn, Earthquake, Aqua Tail. You look at its attack moves and it's amazing. Basically, Scolipede is Allen Iverson. He's a shooting point guard. So basically, he scores with Swords Dance and he can pass with Baton Pass. He also supports team with Spikes and Toxic Spikes, which are really, really big, I think. In a draft format, you got to have versatility. And Scolipede can go offense, it can go defense. You can use Poison Point if you don't want to go with the speed boost. With the Poison Jab and the Poison Point combination, you're able to poison stuff really, really effectively. And it's also a poison type, so I don't have to worry about missing Toxic, because in 6th gen, poison types do not miss Toxic. So that's really, really solid. And overall, just a really, really solid Pokemon. And I feel like people are going to get wrecked by it in the league. So the very next pick, I decided to go with Blastoise. I was torn between Blastoise and Donphan. I'm not sure if Donphan was actually picked. I don't remember. But I think I was choosing between Donphan and Blastoise. And I ultimately came up with Blastoise because it had a little bit more synergy with Torn than Donphan did. But going back on it, I think I might have had to pick Donphan, but it's still another reason why I picked Blastoise over Donphan was because it has better coverage. Scald and Ice Beam and Dark Pulse and Aura Sphere and all the attacks that Blastoise gets is a little bit better than Earthquake knockoff and Stone Edge. Um, they both have priority, and basically it just came down to who had better coverage. It also gets access to Mirror Coat. I think Donphan only gets counter. Of course, Donphan's ability is a little bit better with Sturdy, but if you're having to rely on Sturdy, then is it really a better ability? And then I also have the, like I said, the synergy between Tornadus and Blastoise with the Rain Dish hidden ability. Then I went with Celebi. Celebi was a huge pickup for me because it adds a Grass Resist. I mean, an Electric Resist. Adds a Grass Pokemon to my potential Fire Water Grass core that I was aiming to build upon, and it has an amazing move pool. It has grass coverage, psychic coverage. You look at the moves that it gets, and they're amazing. And then the support moves that it gets are even better. Healing Wish. I really put a priority on getting a Healing Wish user with Scolipede because I can allow Scolipede to take damage. I can allow one of my other sweepers to take damage, and then I can just Healing Wish back up to full, and they're wrecked. Sorry about that. Had to get some water, clear my throat. Alright, so I think I was talking about the support moveset of Celebi, Healing Wish. You know, I really wanted to put priority on a Healing Wish user because, like I said, if something like a Setup Sweeper that I pick up later on in the draft gets weakened, I can just Healing Wish that back up and have another try at it. And I can intentionally do that and give my opponent a false sense of security so that they sack their Pokemon that they were using as a primary check to something like, if I had a Dragon type and they sack their Fairy type, because it was already pretty low, then I can freely just Healing Wish that back up and be able to sweep with it. Also, it can just sweep by itself. Like, it has Nasty Plot. You look at the coverage, Grass has Energy Ball, Psychic, Dazzling Gleam. That's actually pretty good coverage. With Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power, you actually hit a lot of things pretty effectively. And when you think about it in a draft format, you can expect your opponent to bring certain Pokemon to deal with it, to deal with your team. And as you already know, like, I drafted Rain, so my opponents are probably going to bring less Steel types. Or even more Steel types, I don't know, but like Rain does well against Steel types in general, but I still have Earth Power to deal with them, and if I know that they're not really going to bring a lot of Pokemon that are vulnerable to Dazzling Gleam, I can use Grass, Psychic, HA Fire, something like that, and Nasty Plot with that is pretty effective. I can also just Baton Pass out, or Calm Mind Baton Pass into my Mega Diancie. So I picked up Blastoise. I still have 2 Pokemon weak to Stealth Rock, so I figured that I could go with a Magic Bounce user. And with Diancie, there's 2 things that you should know about Magic Bounce. It bounces hazards away, first of all, but it learns screens. And if you guys didn't know, if you try to defog screens away and you're using Magic Bounce, you have to get the evasion drop on the Pokemon to get the Magic Bounce off to defog away the screens. And because you don't lose the evasion when you defog, obviously, Light Screen and Reflect don't go away. They just go away on your opponent's side of the field. So if they set up screens and they defog on you, it's bad news bears for them. But we'll see if my opponents do know that. Hopefully they're not watching. But yeah, you got Moonblast, Diamond Storm, Earth Power, HE Fire, Psyshock. Pretty standard attack coverage moves of Diancie, and then you got the little support moves. Like, it might have 110 base speed, but you can still go with the Trick Room. I think you got speed base, underspeed, whatever, underspeed base 80s, which is all right. You're 110 base speed with 0. I think you hit around 80 speed, so that's still pretty bad. But like, I don't know. Like, there's still the Trick Room option. I have Celebi, I have Diancie. Blastoise can go fast, can go slow, so there's that. And it gets better coverage than Moonblast, Diamond Storm, Earth Power, Hidden Power, Fire. I'm not going to list every single coverage that it gets, but these are just examples of what it does get. And you look at the stats of Diancie as well. Like, it's not frail by any means. It has 110 defense and 110 special defense. The only thing that makes Diancie frail is its weaknesses to like water, ground, grass, steel. And the steel weakness is actually pretty big because a lot of Pokemon do learn Iron Tail, Iron Head, They can use HP Steel, so Diancie being weak to that is pretty big. But those don't OHKO just because of its amazing bulk, and it also has 50 HP. So the HP stat is pretty bad, but for the most part, Diancie is going to be really solid for the team, and I'm pretty excited that I drafted it. It also opens up because I did franchise a tier 1 Pokemon and I drafted a tier 2 Mega. It gives me additional points later on. Alright, so then I got the Cofagrigus, and you look. Let me just give you a little bit of background on me and Cofagrigus. So in tours, I am undefeated in like Smogon tours. I am undefeated every time I use Cofagrigus on the team. Cofagrigus is actually a really good Pokemon in any tier. And in a draft format, I think it gets even better because in Gen 6, there's Shadow Ball, which is only resisted by Dark, and I'm drawing a blank, but whatever. It's resisted by Dark and something else. And okay, so I was drawing a blank on normal because it's immune to normal. But whatever. So normal types are immune, and that's fine because not a lot of normal type Pokemon are drafted. I mean, I know A-Drive drafted Blissey or Chansey, and Porygon 2 might have been drafted, but like Porygon 2 is a joke to go fag. Like I guess Will-O-Wisp, Tide Spikes, it's easy peasy. I can go with HP Flooding. Shadow Ball HP Flooding actually hits everything pretty hard. Also has access to Hex, so I do have Tide Spikes on Scolipede. I have Tide Spikes on this. I have Will-O-Wisp on this. So if I do go for the Hex, it's going to be pretty effective. And Trick Room, like I said, is an option with Celebi, Diancie, and Kofag. With Trick Room, I think Trick Room is definitely a viable option. It learns Disable, Haze, Mean Look. It has a lot of utility. Heal Block to stop these annoying Pokemon that spam Soft Boiled, Recover, Roost, and Memento. Memento was something that I really wanted to pick up on my team. Whimsicott was drafted earlier. I really wanted that Prankster Memento to set up some other one of my Pokemon, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to draft the Whimsicott. But Cofagrigus is, I think, much better, and I think it was a steal at tier 4. So I'm really glad that I got this Pokemon. And then Frogadier, a lot of people were like, "What? This is too heat. This Pokemon is bad," and I'm going to prove a lot of people wrong with this. Like, you look at the coverage: Water, Ice, Dark, Grass. Gets hidden power fire, physical poison typing with gunk shot, low kick, U-turn, and has access to Toxic Spikes and Taunt. You look at this Pokemon and you look at some of the damage calcs. At level 50, you like OHKO stuff like Amoonguss, with the Calm Mind boost from Celebi. This becomes very dangerous. You can go Scarfed on this. You can go Speed Boost, give it some Speed Boost, go Specs. If you go Specs on this, nothing is taking hits. Like, you look at the coverage that it gets and how, like, Greninja got banned from OU, right? And this obviously Baby Grin. Might not be as strong, might not be as fast, might not be as bulky. I mean, they're both pretty frail, but you can actually run Eviolite on this and take hits decently well. It can take a max attack Earthquake from Garchomp pretty effectively. I mean, it's not like O-Code after Rocks or Rocks plus Hazard, so that's really solid. Yeah, like Dark Pulse, like, oh my gosh, like Water, Ice, Dark coverage is just so good. And the fact that he actually changes his ability, changes his typing, whenever I attack, means that it's much harder to get the kill on it, because usually when you try to revenge a Pokemon that's fast, you try to use priority against it. So like stuff like Azu, revenge kills like something like Entei with Aqua Jet, but you can't really revenge kill this effectively because I'm always changing the typing, and that is going to be something that's people are going to have to look out for, because it's going to be difficult to revenge kill this, because if I killed something with low kick, then you have to bring in something like Reuniclus to revenge kill it, but like I just have Dark Pulse. Like you can't it's hard. And then I picked up the Kingdra, the next pick. It's pretty simple. There's really not much that Kingdra does. And I basically use this as a buffer. um, it was I don't have the wheel pick, but there was like 4 picks in between. I was pretty confident that nobody was gonna pick up Politoed in between, and if they did pick up Politoed, Kingdra is still a pretty decent Pokemon. Um, and I figured that I was gonna get Politoed along with this, so it was like a package deal. So it abuses Swift Swim really, really well, and even if I don't use Rain, it still diverts the attention. Like, Rain is still gonna be a problem because if I don't use Rain all season long, and then on the last game of the season, my opponent doesn't expect Rain, I actually bring Rain, like, they're gonna be devastated. So just having that threat of Rain is gonna be really, really big, and having Disable is also pretty cool. I don't think people are really gonna expect that. Its coverage is pretty simple: Dragon, Water, Ice. Draco Meteors hurt. It's actually very, very bulky. It has 95 defenses all around. Only 2 weaknesses: Dragon and Fairy. Thought it was only 1 because I forgot about Fairy, but only 2 weaknesses, and a lot of solid resist to water, fire, water. Pretty solid resistances. All right, guys. All right. Then we picked up Politoed. It's helps support the team a little bit. Weakens the fire attacks for Celebi, Scolipede. Very, very good support Pokemon with Encore, Parasong, Haze, Whirlpool. You can't have Whirlpool with Drizzle, but with Water Absorb you can. So the versatility of Politoed is there with Water Absorb. I think I also mentioned the versatility of Scolipede's Poison Point, so that's also right there. So Politoed also helps support the Tornadus as well, because of the 100% accurate Hurricanes. And I have more Scald users, so I have Scald user in Kingdra and Politoed. So if I opted to go with Hex on Kofag, it's a little bit more viable. And I also have another Endeavor user, another status in Hypnosis. So Politoed is a pretty solid Pokemon. Pretty good special defense. My team is kind of lacking in the special defense department, and Politoed has a solid 90 HP and 100 special defense, so it'll be able to take some hits. Alright, so next Pokemon, I picked up Metagross because in the past I did there was a March Madness tournament for the Pokemon Draft League, and basically you drafted in 7 Pokemon very, very quickly. It took a few hours, or it took 1 day to draft, but it went by relatively fast. And I picked a team that was very, very weak to Fairy types. I only had 1 resist and like 3 weaknesses, and I definitely learned my lesson from that. And I really thought that I needed a Fairy resist. Metagross is a great answer to Fairy types. The only Fairy types that doesn't really handle that well is Azumarill, and even then, like, I have Thunder Punch for that, and Scolipede, Celebi, Blastoise should be able to handle Azu pretty well, as well as the fact that I also have Politoed with potential Water Absorb, so not really too worried about Azu that much. So Ice Thunder Punch coverage, really, really solid. Has 135 base attack, really, really strong. Gets the speed boost from the Scolipede, gets Sword Stances from the Scolipede, Sword Stances from the Celebi, has access to Rock Polish, Earthquake, Zen Headbutt. It has really, really solid coverage. It has access to screens, and like I said, they can't defog the screens if I bring Diancie, Stealth Rock, Pursuit, Bullet Punch priority. So my team is actually really, really fast. I have Scolipede at 112 speed with speed boost. I have Torn at 121 speed, Diancie at 110 as well. Frogadier at 97. Then I have priority in Aqua Jet from my Blastoise. I have priority in Frogadier, I think. I have Swift Swim in Kingdra. I have Bullet Punch in my Metagross. So speed is not an issue for my team. And it's also my first Stealth Rock user on the team. I don't think that I'm going to have the, what's the word? Freedom to use. I wasn't trying to use freedom, but I don't think I'm going to have the opportunity for Diancie to have Stealth Rock as a move slot, because Protect, I think, is going to be pretty big. But who knows? I might have to use Diancie with Stealth Rock if I can't bring one of my 2 steel types. Steelix. Steelix was the last pick of the draft, and I think it was the most important pick. Because you look at my team, I got Frogadier, Blastoise, Politoed, Tornadus. All very, very weak to electric types. I need an answer to that, and I picked Steelix. Stealth Rock, electric immunity. It wrecks every electric type in the game, like Manectric, Earth Power, Sheer Force. Get wrecked. Raikou, Raikou is actually a joke, because Abstrika, the little bug electric thing, whatever, that's a joke. So, Sheer Force, huge. Curse can also win games, is another win con. Frogadier is a win con, Diancie is a win con, Celebi is a win con, Scolipede is a win con. Tornadus is a win con. Any given week, Tornadus is a win con. It's crazy to think that, but that's why I franchised it. That's why I believe it's one of the best mons in the format. And Tornadus is a win con. Curse Steelix is a win condition. With the rain, I lose another fire weakness. It has 200 defense. If you looked at the stats of the GBA and the fan doc, I have the best defense in the GBA thanks to Steelix, Metagross, Kofag, Diancie. Unfortunately, my HP stat on the team is a little bit discouraging, but I do have great abilities to deter, to help my defenses. I have Poison Point on Scolipede. I have Regenerator. I have Rain Dish on Blastoise. I have Natural Cure on Celebi. I also have access to Heal Bell. So my defenses on the team are really, really solid. It's actually like I said on the slide, it's a great defensive pivot. It's another Steel, another Fairy Resist. So Steelix is actually a very, very solid Pokemon. And overall, I think I have a really solid draft. Like I said, I didn't say this actually, but I'm a rookie at the draft thing. This is my first year playing in the GBA. This is going to be a different experience. I'm going to use it as a learning experience. I'm going to take it seriously every single week. Not going to take it for granted. Every opponent, I'm definitely going to prep for. The reason why this video is actually uploaded, what is today? Wednesday? Tuesday? The reason why this video is uploaded on Tuesday is because I've been thinking about playing against Gubs all week long. We have the battles going up this week, and I'm still thinking about how I want to format my GBA battles, because I don't know if I want to use face cam or not. I don't have a layout ready for that, but I will be streaming on Saturday, and I will be using my GBA team. So if you guys want to play me, I'll just be using some of my GBA Pokemon. So stream on Saturday. Follow me on Twitter. If you have any more questions on why I drafted certain Pokemon and I did address them in the video, leave a comment down below, tweet at me, do something, and I'll try my best to answer it. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like. Peace. Sorry for my voice. I've been sick for a week now and getting better, but my throat doesn't feel better. Peace.